West Ham United might be having to use that awkward emoji, you know, the awkward one with the teeth like that. That's probably not a good representation of it. But they might be having to use that when they contact Joel Matip. Get the old phone out. Dear Joel, how's things? How's tricks? A bit awkward. Awkward smiley. Do you want to come and meeting us again, please? Because, okay, so here's the story as it was Monday. Monday, West Ham are in advanced talks with Joel Matip. Joel Matip, of course, is the 33-year-old former Liverpool defender. West Ham are in advanced talks, thinking, okay, this is going well. There were rumours that he'd even flown over, right? How true that is, I don't know. And then we get a little whiff that Mats Hummels has become available. And apparently we fancy 35-year-old Mats Hummels more than we fancy 33-year-old Joel Matip. Purely in football in terms, of course. So we sort of ditch Matip, who's had his fair share of cruciate knee ligament injuries. I say fair share. I think he's had one cruciate knee ligament injury, but it was enough for Liverpool to not renew his contract, to not give him the year's extension or whatever it was. It was enough for them to say, at the end of last season, say goodbye. No more, thank you very much. Of course, they had the new manager coming in, Arne Slot. He's impressive. And have you heard him interviewed, by the way, Arne Slot? Yeah, it's it was sort of chalk and cheese when you heard him and Eric Ten Hag the other day. Anyway, I can't help myself on this. I do not know what all the fuss is about with Eric Ten Hag. Ever since he came in there, I just don't get it. Anyway, that's we'll deal with that when we play him. Probably won't actually be sacked by then. But I've always thought, what's the difference between Ten Hag and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? It just does not look significantly better or any better at all. Anyway, Liverpool turned around and said to Matip, "No, don't worry, don't worry about it. We won't renew your contract." They were concerned about the knee ligament injury. So were West Ham. And I'm not sure if he underwent a medical on Monday or he was close to it, but certainly the club cited concerns over his fitness for a reason to turn their attentions to Hummels. Now, Hummels have been offered a deal by AS Roma, who basically is going to go and join now. But we thought we could entice him. The trouble was, apparently we get Hummels, we start having discussions with him. Obviously, he's known to Tim Stuyton, he's known to Fulkrug and all the rest of it. And it turns out that Roma were prepared to offer Hummels not just a 1-year deal, but 1 year with an option which would keep him there till he was 37. And I think that, and the fact that they were willing to offer him a really good shot at first-team football was enough for him. He's a quality player, really, obviously brilliant player, played in last season's Champions League final. And he still thinks he's got something to offer, but when I mean something to offer like Angelo Ogbonna going to Watford, I think he still feels... Because there is a difference, right? There is a difference between Ogbonna not being in the team last season and obviously somebody who's still playing at the top level and thinks he can continue to do so. So I think the prospect of 2 seasons in Syria plus, I don't know if it's guarantee of first-team football, but more likelihood to play first-team football at Roma has convinced him to turn around and say, actually, West Ham, I'm going to reject your offer, which brings Matip back into the mix. But I sort of do understand it, because you look at it with West Ham, Max Kilman nailed on, right? No dispute at all. But I think most of us would agree that we're a little bit surprised that Todibo has not made it into the first team yet, bearing in mind the amount of money that we've committed to spend on him, even if we haven't spent it just yet. He had a bit of a shaky first half, didn't he, against Bournemouth, and then he was withdrawn. We assume because he took a knock, but it was nothing serious. And I think a lot of us are surprised that it's actually Mavropanos. If you'd have started, but this is before we've sold a Gerd, right, and you know we're bringing in another central defender. If you'd have said the central defensive partnership will be Gilman and Mavropanos, not too many people saw that to be the case. Now, maybe Mavropanos' error in the game against City may well mean that Todibo gets a chance to start. I don't know. He's got another couple of weeks to work with him, hasn't he? Lopetegui on the training ground. But my point being, if we sign Hummels, you can't put Hummels in front of Todibo because he's next in line should Mavropanos muck up, right? So you can't do that. So realistically, it's very, very hard to say to Hummels, yeah, you're coming in, you're going straight into the team. I mean, let's be fair, not only did we chase Todibo, we chased him hard. And in the end, we were trying to convince his representatives who were really pushing for that move to Juventus. No, come to West Ham, come to West Ham. You can do that, right? You can do that, and you can try and persuade them. But what you can't then do is say, "I'll come to West Ham. We'll commit to a £30 million transfer or whatever it is. On, by the way, your fourth choice centre back when he could have been starting for Juventus." So I can understand why we couldn't and probably shouldn't offer Mats Hummels for regular first team football. That was enough for him to move on. So it goes back to Matip. So I do wonder what's going to be happening now when we turn around to Matip and say, actually, you know what, maybe we give him one of the old Zuma medicals that Zuma passed in Saudi or something like that. The truth of the matter is, I don't know if Matip is... There is a difference, right? There's a difference between having a knee injury and recovering and then being like Zuma, who is... I mean, Zuma's knees and everything are so bad, he's probably going to be the type of guy that when he's in his 50s and 60s, he's just going to struggle for mobility. He'll probably have his knees rebuilt and stuff like that, of course. But I don't feel that that's the case with Matip. Not that I know anything about his injury, but I would suspect he can recover from the injury. And probably because he is coming off the back of one, and unlike Hummels, hadn't played in Champions League finals and whatnot last season, would probably be more willing, I'm guessing, to take a role at West Ham where he's not guaranteed, to play in the first team. Now it was suggested that Barcelona were interested in him. I don't know if this is just like a common ploy now. Sometimes you hear things so many times, you think, I'm not sure I believe that anymore. So we heard that Guido Rodriguez was about to join Barcelona, and that didn't happen, and West Ham got him instead. I think it's a nice narrative. I like the story. It sounds great. West Ham pinched somebody that was going to move to Barcelona. Has a lovely ring to it. It really does. How true that is, I don't know. I think if he was going to Barca, then you would imagine again, it would be as a backup player. So if it's not him, then we could be getting a phone out again. Another awkward one. It's time to John Egan. So, oh no, mate, fancy joining West Ham. They were confident. There's no doubt about it. But I've seen confidence go. On Monday, the club were confident of signing Matip. On Tuesday, they were confident of signing Hummels. And now they're just probably not too confident at all. The truth of the matter is, this stuff doesn't overly matter. I really don't think it does. It would be nice to have an additional centre-back, as we discussed before. We've got Kalen Case you can, fill in if need be. If we get absolutely desperate, Alvarez played in centre-back loads of times. And you'd imagine he's pretty damn good at it as well. He's got that sort of defensive tactical... I don't know what that is. He's got that defensive tactical nous, or defensive tactical nose, as we could say. So, look, we've not got European football. We'd have to suffer really, really badly to get to a point where we couldn't put out any central defenders. So I don't know. The news is that actually our wage bill is lower now than it was last season. So we've got money, and not money in the bank, so to speak, but we got wriggle room in the finances, that if we did get to January and wanted to bring someone in, we could probably leave it until then. I don't know. Look, I suspect we're going to go back in for Matip and we're going to get him. And that'd be good, but I can't even believe this. Honestly, whatever the date is, look, 4th of September, and we're still talking about transfers.